The drama surrounding The View didn't explode all at once. It crept in quietly, like a pressure crack, spreading beneath the surface of a structure everyone assumed was indestructible. For decades, the show had been a permanent fixture of daytime television. A cultural institution that thrived on friction, confrontation, and the raw energy of strong personalities clashing over the issues of the moment. It was loud, messy, opinionated, and unapologetic, and that was exactly why millions tuned in every day. No one imagined that a single lawsuit, sparked by a few minutes of on-air commentary, could bring the entire machine to a grinding halt. Yet that is precisely how the end began. From the outside, The View still looked like it always had. The bright studio lights, the familiar table, the practiced banter between co-hosts who knew how to spar without completely tearing each other apart. But behind the scenes, something had shifted. Crew members noticed it first. Conversations that once flowed easily were now guarded. Jokes felt forced. There was an unspoken sense that everyone was waiting for something to happen, even if no one could yet say what that something was. The show, once fueled by fearless spontaneity, now felt like it was walking on glass. Whispers began circulating in production offices and hallways. Not the usual gossip that followed any long-running talk show, but something heavier, more ominous. A lawsuit. Not a nuisance claim or a disgruntled complaint destined to fade quietly. This one carried weight. The plaintiff, according to those close to the situation, was not someone accustomed to backing down. They had money, influence, and a reputation for aggressively protecting their name. That alone was enough to set nerves on edge. What made it worse was the growing belief that this legal threat wasn't just aimed at the network. It could personally implicate one of the show's most prominent voices, Sunny. Hostin had always been a lightning rod. Her sharp delivery, legal background, and unapologetic confidence made her one of the most formidable presences at the table. She didn't hedge. She didn't soften her words for comfort. When she believed someone deserved scrutiny, she delivered it with precision and force. That fearlessness was part of The View's brand, and for years, it had paid off. Controversy drove ratings. Ratings drove relevance. And relevance kept the show. Untouchable lore, so everyone believed. The moment that would change everything didn't feel extraordinary at first. It unfolded like countless segments before it. A heated discussion. A controversial figure. Sunny leaning forward, eyes focused, voice unwavering, as she delivered her assessment. The kind of moment viewers expected from her. But this time, something landed differently. The tone sharpened. The allegations grew heavier. The words, spoken quickly and passionately, reached beyond opinion and into territory that would later be dissected line by attorneys. Inside the control room, the energy shifted instantly. The background hum went quiet. Producers exchanged looks that said more than words could. Viewers at home saw only another fiery exchange. Those behind the cameras sensed something else entirely. This wasn't just provocative television. This was dangerous. The reaction was immediate. Social media erupted within minutes. Clips spread rapidly, stripped of context, replayed endlessly. Supporters praised Sunny for speaking truth to power, hailing her as fearless and principled. Critics accused her of recklessness, of making claims that went too far. The divide was sharp, emotional, and loud. But beneath the noise, something far more consequential was taking shape. Days later, the rumors solidified. A formal legal letter arrived at ABC, not a warning shot, not a request for clarification. It was detailed, aggressive, and unambiguous. Specific segments were cited. Exact phrasing was quoted. The letter accused The View and Sunny Hostin of broadcasting defamatory statements as fact, causing irreparable harm. It demanded retractions and signaled the pursuit of massive financial damages. For the network, it was a nightmare scenario. Emergency meetings were called. Lawyers descended on archives, replaying footage frame by frame, transcript by transcript. Every word Sunny had spoken during that segment was scrutinized. Had disclaimers been sufficient? Were the claims clearly framed as opinion, or had they crossed into assertion? In talk television, that distinction can be everything. What unsettled executives most was the scale. This wasn't a lawsuit that could be quietly settled and forgotten. The numbers being discussed were staggering. Enough to threaten advertising relationships. Enough to make shareholders nervous. Enough to raise a question no one wanted to ask out loud. Was the View itself now at risk? On camera, the show carried on. Smiles were worn. Topics shifted to safer ground. But the tension was impossible to hide. Joy Behar's jokes landed softer than usual. Whoopi Goldberg, long the show's stabilizing force, chose her words carefully, avoiding anything that might be misinterpreted. Sarah N. adopted a noticeably cautious tone, as if measuring every sentence before letting it escape. The one's electric atmosphere felt muted, restrained by fear. Sunny, meanwhile, appeared to be unraveling under the weight. One day she was composed, delivering her lines with practiced authority. The next, she seemed distant, distracted, her focus drifting. Staff members noticed her pacing in quiet corners, phone pressed to her ear, voice low. Some caught glimpses of her eyes glistening, the confidence that once defined her now flickering under the pressure. Behind closed doors, the network wrestled with impossible choices. Lawyers suggested a carefully worded on-air statement, perhaps an expression of regret for any misunderstandings. Not an apology, they insisted. Just enough to signal good faith. But even that carried risk. Any concession could be interpreted as an admission of liability. At the same time, refusing to address the issue publicly risked alienating advertisers and inflaming the controversy further. Sunny herself was torn. Part of her believed deeply that she had done nothing wrong, that holding powerful figures accountable was the very purpose of The View, that backing down would betray everything the show stood for. But another part of her understood the reality. This wasn't just about her anymore. Crew members, producers, co-hosts, entire livelihoods now hung in the balance. As news of the lawsuit broke publicly, the fallout accelerated. Reporters camped outside the studio. Cameras flashed as co-hosts hurried inside, avoiding questions. Headlines grew more dramatic by the hour. Advertisers, skittish and risk-averse, began to pull their campaigns. One major sponsor quietly withdrew, then another, and another. The dominoes fell fast. For ABC executives, the math became brutal. A show built on controversy had finally collided with consequences too severe to absorb. Late-night meetings stretched into early mornings. Contingency plans were drafted. Words like hiatus and restructuring entered internal memos. Though everyone understood what they really meant, when the announcement came, it was framed delicately. A temporary hiatus while the network addressed ongoing legal challenges. The language was cautious, corporate, almost sterile. But inside the building, staff knew the truth. Desks were cleared. Personal items were packed into boxes. Tears were shed in quiet hallways. Veterans of the show, people who had survived countless controversies, whispered the same thought to each other. This feels final. Within hours, the news broke wider. The View canceled. Entertainment media lit up with analysis and speculation. Some mourned the loss of a show that had shaped cultural conversations for generations. Others expressed relief, exhausted by what they saw as endless outrage and sensationalism. Critics argued the cancellation was inevitable, the result of years spent dancing dangerously close to legal boundaries in pursuit of ratings. Sunny Hostin became the focal point of it all. When ABC made its announcement, she was notably absent. Reports surfaced of intense meetings with legal counsel, of discussions about personal liability and career implications. Paparazzi photos captured her leaving the studio, head down, expressions strained. Gone was the confident television warrior. In her place stood someone visibly overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had unfolded. The network's official statement was brief and carefully neutral. It cited legal complexities and strategic decisions. It avoided assigning blame, but the implication was clear. The lawsuit and the commentary that triggered it had pushed the show past the point of no return. In the days that followed, tabloids published accounts of Sunny's final moments on set, describing her removing personal photos from her dressing room mirror. Pausing as if to take in the space one last time, an unverified video circulated online, showing her embracing a producer, tears streaming down her face. Reactions were divided. Some accused her of playing the victim. Others expressed empathy, recognizing the crushing weight of public scrutiny and legal peril. The lawsuit itself did not disappear with the show's cancellation. Depositions loomed. Negotiations dragged on. Legal analysts debated whether the statements in question met the high bar required for defamation. Was there reckless disregard for the truth? Were the claims demonstrably false? The answers would come later, in courtrooms far removed from television lights. Sunny retreated from public view. Her once active social media presence went quiet, replaced by occasional neutral posts unrelated to the controversy. No statements. No explanations. Just silence. Some speculated she was planning a comeback on her own terms. Oath.